Hi there. Well, if you're watching this video, you're probably curious about what I've prepared for your children. But before I get into that, let me go over once again, for those of you who have not been familiar with some of the things that I've been doing. I've been teaching creativity for, well, more than 35 years, all over the world. And I like to practice what I preach. And one of the things that I've done is train myself to do things that I couldn't do before. As an example, photography. I didn't know a thing about photography. Oh, I could take a picture, and as far as I was concerned, you pointed the camera and you told your subject to do something, and that was it. But when I was training people, children, adults as well, in creativity, I decided to do photography a little bit different. And before you knew it, I was in the International Photography Hall of Fame. Now, how in the world did that happen? Well, using one of the techniques that I'll be telling you about in a little bit, I decided to do photography different. I took a few pictures. First one was in San Diego, but then I found myself in Paris. I'm going to get up and do this a little amateurishly, but I want this to be a continual thing here. This is one of the photographs that I took in Paris. Now, I like my photography to be kind of like you want to step into the picture. I thought that was pretty interesting. That's a photograph. And then I found myself in Portugal. And this was my Portuguese contribution to photography. Well, after a while, my photographs got to be more than just a hobby. And people were wondering, how in the where'd you come up with that? Well, I told them I came up with it simply by doing the things that I was telling other people to do. Then I decided to see if I could paint. Now, painting is a whole different thing. Painting really requires talent. I didn't have talent. For me to paint a stick figure was a major thing. Well, this is not a stick figure. Let me back up a bit so you can see it. That's a painting I did. Actually, I did 110 paintings when I started seeing if I could paint for a scene. And of course, the scene that you see behind me is on my office wall. I got tired of looking at a blank wall, and so I painted the sun rising or setting, depending on the time of day that it was. Well, this is what I want to teach children. Intuition and talent. Intuition is that little voice in your head that helps guide you on the right path. Intuition tells you whether you should be friends with someone or whether you should avoid that person. If you're lost, it acts as a compass. On a higher scale, it can be used to find your life's purpose instead of just wandering around in circles. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is inspiration. Inspiration is that spark of creativity, that sudden flash of insight to compose a great piece of music, or to paint a picture, or in my case, develop a new form of photography. Now, what I found is you don't have to wait until you're 78, because that's when I started painting, when I was 78 a few years back. You don't have to wait till you're 78 to produce creativity through intuition and inspiration. Just imagine what would happen if your child could do this. Could your child be the next Mozart, the next Edison? Could that flash of inspiration lead them to not just compose a nice piece of music or paint a wonderful painting, but to invent something that benefits humanity, to help them make better decisions in their life, to help them live their life's purpose and find the proper life's purpose and eventually find the right mate? Don't let your child wait to become an adult to have to go through problem after problem and then struggle through adulthood in search of personal development to find the creativity and intuition they lost because they had it all the time. let them not lose this ability in the first place. And that's what I want to do. That's my mission in life. I know you must be excited to know what I have in store for you. And I worked really hard to wrap things up yesterday, which, as you may know, was Children's Day. So I don't want to keep you on the edge of your seat for much longer. I'm just going to let the cat out of the bag right now. I put together a course for children that will help them to keep their creativity and therefore their full potential for genius before they lose it. All the techniques, all 35, 40 years of my experience that have helped hundreds of thousands of adults regain that magic. I'm now making this available to reach out to children for the first time. I call it my inner magic. Tomorrow, I'll be sending you a short presentation of the details of my inner magic. So be sure to look out for it. It will have all the juicy details on what I have in store. What I have in store to help children achieve their true potential through intuition and inspiration. So stay tuned. Have a blessed day, a wonderful week, an interesting month, and a successful and happy year. Thank you. This is Burt Goldman. Talk to you soon.